Don't frazzle my It's the Woodworking Morning Show.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's the Woodworking Morning Show. I'm Mark.
And I'm Nicole.
And today we've got some Black Friday stuff going on.
I'm so frazzled.
We got, Nicole, focus on the products. Stop focus on the frazzle. We've got some cool stuff to show you. We got woodworking questions to answer, or at least attempt to answer.
A few of them.
We got our coordinated Christmas shirts on today.
Yeah, I thought I was wearing a different shirt before the show because I was cold. I was like, I want to wear a sweater. Yep. I thought about just letting you wear your shirt only.
Yeah, that could have been funny. I mean, I would do that. Anyone who knows the joke would be fine with it. Hey, Andy Klein is here.
Andy!
What's going on, Andy? We're going to be talking in a little bit about one of Andy's new products over at MagSwitch. That'll be after our initial stuff here. By the way, if you want to help out supporting the show, you can do that at patreon.com/woodwhisper or on YouTube. I think they finally added like the join button on mobile.
Oh, they did.
Maybe for some people, I saw it.
You might be one of the lucky ones.
Yeah, you might be a lucky one, and and you could actually help support us there as well. And we want to thank Aaron Morse, Travis Webster, and did you see some of my other names that I had in here today?
No, I didn't.
Very special.
Oh, Candy Cane.
Yeah.
Bob Tinsel.
Yep.
Are these fake names?
Keep reading.
Terrence Kringle and Holly.
Terrence Kringle and Holly Berry.
The Holly Berry.
No, the other one.
The other Holly Berry.
Yeah, we only had two, so I wanted to fill the rest in.
Did you check YouTube?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
But I was really proud of Terrence Kringle.
Okay.
That was really some of my finest work. We want to thank Ness. You guys have seen Ness in the chat room a number of times for a wonderful Dunkin' gift card.
Thank you, Ness. We're having coffee on you. On you? That doesn't make any sense.
We're having coffee on you. That sounds inappropriate.
It doesn't.
We've never even met her in person, Nicole. Can we at least have a first date?
Yeah.
My goodness.
Are you feeling puffy today?
Oh, I'm always puffy.
No, I just feel very puffy, and I don't know if it was just yesterday, Thanksgiving.
I don't get puffy, Nicole.
I feel puffy. Maybe it was all the cheese.
It's your Midwestern peaches and cream complexion makes you puffy.
I just feel puffy.
Yeah. Let's see, what else do we have? There's a guild sale.
Oh, yeah.
Were you aware of that? I was aware of that.
Yeah. I had the ads made.
Yeah. I feel like I got the picture a little bit bright today. Is that the case? Sorry about that.
Feeling...
You need the extra brightness.
Tone me down. No. Lower it.
Too bright? Okay. So where am I? Okay, let me show you what's going on with this guild sale. That's not the guild sale. That's actually my show notes. None of that says, Mark, put your wiener back.
Stop it.
That's always an important note to have in there.
Yeah.
So if you go to the guild site today, thewoodwhisperguild.com/store, we have some fantastic deals. Now the thing is, when you go to the store page, the projects, you can click the link up here and go to projects. Look at the titles. If they're blue, they are not on sale.
Is that blue? I thought that was black.
No, it's like dark blue.
It's not orange.
It's a greenish blue.
It's not orange.
In other words, not orange. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll get to the 2019 projects and earlier, and that is all orange, right? All these orange
It all
ones,
starts with Morley.
Yep, the Morley table. That was the last project of 2019.
Yep.
So all of the rest of these are 40% off when you buy 2 or more. Okay, so speaking of more, let's click on Morley. I'm going to add that to the cart and watch what happens. We're halfway there because now we have one thing added to the cart.
You just killed the website.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. All right, so that adds at full price, but look at what happens to the rest of these. They all get a slash through, letting you know that if you, for just $30 more, you could have the bread box. All right, once you do that, you are fully at 40% off, and now you have the full discount.
This only lasts till Monday.
This is only till Monday.
We don't do sales a lot. We did quite a few this year because of 2020
stuff.
2020.
And things. Yeah. So 40% off by 2 or more. And again, 2020 projects are not included in that. The reason we do that, we get a lot of questions. Some people really wish we would put the recent projects on sale. There is a thing that happens, and I get it. There's times I've purchased something, and then a couple months later it goes on sale, and I feel like I missed out. I don't like making people feel that way. So the people who invested in those projects in the first year, I don't like to smack them in the butt on the way out like that. I want to make sure that they feel like they got a good value. So next year, those will be on sale, and it just kind of retains the value of what people have already invested in this year.
Well, and you may or may not know this, but our guild instructors, we pay them forever.
We do pay them.
Like when you buy a project, part of that is going to them. So it's something that I don't think a lot of people do.
I don't know how everyone else does it. Like people who do these premium things that have subscriptions, but multiple instructors. I don't know how you divide subscriptions amongst instructors like that. But the bottom line is you buy a project, you're supporting the guild, but you are also giving a significant chunk of that amount goes to the actual instructor, not to us.
Yep.
So so it's all good. Anyway, that's at thewoodwhispererguild.com if you want to check out the sale. And you wanted to say something about the Amazon gift daily whacker?
So last year we did the Amazon holiday gift guide. It's still there. It's still relevant. I've added a couple more things. In fact, I think I just added these shirts to it.
That's what you want to invest
So
in.
you want to get these shirts? I got these on Amazon last year, 2 years ago. I don't remember. But if you go to amazon.com/shop/thewoodwhisperer, I have a bunch of categories, and holiday gift guide is one of them. And you can find some cool stuff there.
Yeah.
And if you buy through the guide, a small percentage of it goes back to us.
And this stuff doesn't get old.
No.
We could use the same gift guide year after year.
I mean, we just add to it.
It's just woodworking stuff. Like it's not going to get old.
Those are some of Mark's favorite stuff.
Yeah.
So.
So a couple of comments about the lack of a beard, Nicole.
Yeah.
Last night I shaved, and I did it because Ava has been complaining about the scratchies.
Yeah.
So I feel bad, and I decided to shave.
Are you cold? You look cold.
Yeah, I look like I'm cold. I don't have as much fur to warm me up. So I shaved, and then I saw sitting in the little bathroom drawer in my little vanity in there, I see a Harry's razor. We're talking Vanderlist era Harry's razors, because you know these things don't get used very much in my life. And I actually took a razor to my face, which is something that I haven't done in a very, very long time.
You were trying to get that close shave.
Really, really close shave. And I think the Harry's
it's already
razors...
starting to grow out, by the way.
It is. Just overnight, I now have my 5 o'clock shadow back. It's one of those Harry... And look, they're not a sponsor. They haven't been for a long time. So now I can talk crap about them.
You can find them at Target now.
Yeah, Harry's is a big deal. But what's with the razor companies and like the 14 layers of blades?
I don't know.
What they're going to come out with is like Harry's... or Gillette, right?
Yeah.
Could be anybody. They're going to probably call it the wall. And it's just going to be a wall of razor blades that you just rub your body up against. Yeah. Get your cheek up against
It's not just men's like razor, it's women's too. It's like
the thing becomes so wide. Yeah. If you want to get like precision cuts into your sideburns or something like that, how do you guys do it?
I don't
With
know.
that giant wall of razor blades.
Can you get to your chat?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Scroll up.
Up.
Keep going.
There's a lot here.
There it is.
The
Mark.
super chat? Oh.
Yeah. I just want to say thanks to Mark.
Well, Mark Lohendorf says, no reason, just saying thanks for everything. Well, thank you, Mark.
Everything.
Everything.
That's a lot.
Well, we do a lot, Nicole.
I don't think we do everything.
Well, we're getting close. We're getting pretty close. Okay, so should we get into the meat and potatoes, as they say?
Yeah. I've been grabbing questions. This whole Thanksgiving thing throws me off my game. Usually I put my Patreon posts up on Thursday, but I was too busy baking pies and doing Jackbox games with my mom in Arizona.
Harry wants to know why we always start so early. Well, Harry, when you have kids, and the kids...
It could be even earlier. It was for a while. Remember that?
Well, I mean, does he mean in general, or the last two shows we've started earlier than our normal start time?
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's what he's referring to.
It's him. He's impatient.
Well, the thing is, the time between when I'm ready and then when the show actually starts is dead time. There's nothing I could do. The kids are finally out of the house at grandmom's, and it's like I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs, and I have lots of stuff to do. So I'd rather just start the show early than sit around and twiddle my thumbs. That's kind of what it comes down to.
Jack Brickhouse says, I'm watching this show in my shower. That's interesting.
Interesting.
How does that work?
I'm wondering about the implications of such an arrangement.
You got like a waterproof phone?
Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty good. Well, most phones these days have a little bit of water resistance, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
Real quick before we get into questions, actually, before I show you the MagSwitch product, I do want to mention this. This is something I linked to and posted pictures of on social media.
Oh, yeah.
So we had a slime stain in our house. The kids
me.
got some big, goofy slime. You see that little spot there? After you leave the slime on cherry for a little while, apparently that's what happens. And that's a Rubio monocoat finish on there.
I pulled it up and I was like, uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy. That's a stain that the best I could surmise here is that a lot of times these slime products, and this is not the kind you make at home, but a lot of them have like that borax stuff in it.
Yeah.
And it's a overall, chemically speaking, a basic material.
You're basic.
You're so basic. And what you have in some woods is tannins or tannic acid, right? So what you have there is a reaction that then causes the brown color. A lot of times if you're using oak and you have a clamp with some glue stuck on it, you'll get those black stains like that. So this is kind of a similar reaction that happens here. So, it's a bummer. But being a Rubio finish, I thought, well, all I really have to do here is sand this and then reapply the finish. It's kind of the joy of Rubio. But on cherry, if you sand it, you remove some of the color, the natural aged color.
Like that blonder.
Yeah, that beautiful color you see there, I would actually have a spot that would turn light. So I either do the entire thing or I just do a spot, sand or scrape, and then just hope that Mother Nature will eventually even those things out. Well, someone had suggested that Rubio actually makes another incredibly overpriced product, but that actually works, called their tannin remover. So I picked up a small bottle. That little tiny bottle there was like $150, Nicole. That's not true at all.
No.
It was like $16,
The one in Amazon that I put in Friday Live.
Oh, that one is.
Just for reference.
But it's a liter.
It's a liter, and it's $163.
Yeah.
But don't get that one. You don't need that much.
I mean, I guess if you're doing this for a living and servicing customers,
yeah.
Sure. A tiny little bottle that I bought, it was like $16, but I rubbed that schmutz all over there and let it sit for about 15 minutes. Then I came back and wiped it clean, and look at this. Bob, bob, boom, baby.
It's like magic.
It actually worked, right? And not only did it work, it did not remove the finish. I didn't even have to apply more Rubio. So there's the before, there's the after.
That's pretty impressive.
Right?
Do you think that would work on something that's not Rubio, a Rubio finish, or is it just specifically for a Rubio finish?
I think it really depends on if this material can get through to the wood.
Gotcha.
All right, so I think a Rubio finish is a very light duty finish in that sense. It's not going to take much to have a chemical seep through and absorb into be able to get down to the wood fibers. Mm-hmm. Although it does resist water and things like that very well. So it was really interesting the way that worked, and I was very happy with it overall. So the funny thing was when I first posted it, a lot of people were like, well, see, that's why you don't want to use Rubio. And it's like, well, no, that's why I do want to use Rubio. It's a finish that I could fix very easily. When you have problems with film finishes, it tends to get a little more complicated. So it's neither, a argument for or against from me. It's like, here's what this product does. This is how it worked. And the result was good. I was happy, and I didn't have to do any kind of refinishing.
I like the Dunkin' holiday cups.
Yeah, they're very cheery.
Oh, I forgot. If you are a Patreon...
patron?
A patron.
Can I have my coffee?
Sure,
thanks.
sorry.
Hands off the coffee.
Patreon level 10 and higher. Anytime during the year, if you signed up for Patreon at the $10 level or higher, I'm actually processing holiday cards for you. So you should be getting one of those. Well, if you live in Australia, it might be more of a New Year's card.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm working on those.
Funny thing with the beard, someone's like, you got to grow some mutton chops. Does anybody who has a beard, when you decide to shave it, I can't imagine there's any man that doesn't take 30 pit stops on the way to clean shaven to try every possible permutation of a beard that you can. So last night I only did about 5. So as I was working my way down, I kept going to Ava. She was taking a bath. I'm like, how about this? She's like, So I had a sweet mustache for about 5 minutes.
Keith Keegan has a super chat about the PM 1500. Is that what you have? You have a 1500.
Yeah, it's a bandsaw.
It's a bandsaw.
I can't get the bottom thrust bearing adjusted. It stays loose no matter what. How do you adjust the guidepost? It rubs against the flywheel. Powermatic is not responding to my emails or calls. Well, here's the problem, Keith. I don't have that anymore. I do have a PM 1500, but when Alex Snodgrass came out to visit, he brought me a Carter bandsaw. They make like the little guide things. He brought one of those. So I don't have the one that comes with it anymore. I don't remember having any big problems with it.
Guidepost? Is that what he replaced the guidepost?
Well, the whole assembly with the guide bushing, which is a thrust bearing, and the 2 side bearings. So the whole thing has been replaced on mine. I don't have any tips for you because I don't have it anymore. So I'm sorry about that. I do wish Powermatic would respond to you, but maybe cut them a little bit of slack because we're dealing with a holiday week here.
Holiday and like for instance, Bell Forest they're not having a Black Friday sale because they're running at capacity of how many people they can have and quality and all of that stuff. So yeah,
it's a tough time for everybody. But again, I don't have the stock one to be able to tell you what to do. I'm sorry.
So you got yours is Carter.
Yeah, it's all Carter.
So if he replaced it with a Carter, would that fix it?
Yeah, but I don't want to tell the guy to go spend a couple $100 to replace something that should be working.
Yeah.
Nicole, come on. But they're not all about money here, all right?
Yes.
We're not all made of money, Nicole, like you are.
Stop it. Such a turd.
Okay.
I need my Robux.
Yeah, you do need your Robux.
You know what? I need a friend who works at Roblox is what I need.
Ooh, that would be nice. If I ever could swing the Wood Whisperer power behind something to get something for free.
Robux.
It would be barbecue equipment and Robux, so we don't have to pay for that for the kids.
Oh my God.
All right.
Roblox.
So hey, you guys want to see something cool? I'm going to show you something cool. Bear with me. I have to move over there because I got to get to the drill press, which means I have to take my microphone off.
Are you going to
be as careful as possible not to hurt your ears?
Boop.
All right.
Boop.
So I'm going to show you a product here. Look at this. Boom shakalaka.
Is this why Andy's here?
It's the only reason Andy's here.
This is his invention, right?
Andy's got better things to do than to watch the morning show. Sorry. All right, I think we're good. Can you see everything?
Yep, I see it.
This is an Andy invention. Andy, what's cool is he creates cool products. As you guys know, we work with him fairly frequently. And he made a number of cool things using MagSwitch magnets, and they said, you're hired. So he's now working with MagSwitch, developing great products for woodworkers and makers. This is his drill press fence. And if you guys have a drill press, you probably know the inadequacies of most drill press fences. They just tend to be kind of flimsy. They don't work real well or hold their settings really well. They always seem to get in the way of this travel, right? So even if you can get your bit down real far, when using a fence, a lot of times your chuck is going to wind up hitting the fence. So Andy came up with a great system that allows you to really get in there. You've got this little V-notch in here. So you got all the advantages, full travel here. This gets down to be about, I don't know what that is, like 1.25 inches, it looks like to me. But that's usually plenty of room. Look how far I can go before you make contact. So you can get your workpiece right up, or your drilling right up against the fence, which is really great. It's all magnetic, right? So you don't have to worry about the stupid T-tracks. You just kind of push this thing wherever you want it to go. Your magnets are right back here. Typical MagSwitch stuff. You just turn that little knob and they activate. I'm trying not to kill the focus here, sorry. And one thing I want to show you is as soon as we set this up, we looked at this system. We're like, okay, steel plate, you've got these magnets here. I wonder how square this thing is. So we popped it onto the table, engaged the magnets, and then John and I grabbed our best square and went, dang, that's square. Somehow, I don't know exactly how they milled it so well, but this is dead on square all the way across, right? So we were super stoked about that because now we don't have to worry about it. If you look at the fence here, depending on the size, Powermatic makes a really big table here. Most drill presses don't have a table that large. On the Pro unit, I'm about the full length or the full width of this table, but you can move this magnet unit across. They've got pre-bored holes here, so if you need to do something a little bit tighter for a smaller tabletop, you have that. The other thing that's cool about that is if your tabletop is smaller, you can move these magnets and then still have some overhang on both sides. There's nothing wrong with a little overhang, and then you just have a longer fence. So he has these in 2 different sizes. There's I don't know if they just call it drill press fence, whatever it is.
That's the small version?
The small
and
version.
Pro.
Yeah, so the Pro is the one that gets the fancy name, right? But again, the Pro is what I have here. Another addition to the setup that's really sweet is the stop. So it's a multi-position stop. It is also magnetic, right? So of course it locks in place, but you can use it in different orientations. So if you want to, because here's the thing, it's a magnet, but it is magnetic to the fence, but also to your drill press table. Right? So if you need to do something really weird for whatever reason, you've got the ability to have a nice secure stop there, as well as one that goes to the table. Because of this shape, you've got a short fence or a short stop, short stop, like baseball, Nicole. Short stop, and then also a high stop. So you could probably just use your imagination and find all different ways to integrate this onto the fence. So we've been using this for about a week now. Got to say, absolutely love it. It's a really, really nice product. Do you have the links there?
I just put them in the chat room.
So I can
with the code Marc.
Oh, that's a good code. I can answer questions about this. I don't know if I need to stay over here, but we have 2 links for you. One is going to be for the small version. The other is for the Pro. Right now, if you use my code, which is my name, Marc, M-A-R-C, you're going to get 15% off in addition to the pre-sale price.
Oh, yeah.
It is on pre-sale, so it's reduced. After the pre-sale, the price goes up, and you have until December 23rd to get that.
22nd.
December 22nd.
You're good at this.
You have until.
Oh, no, you're right. I'm not good at this.
Oh, Nicole, I'm on the ball here, and you're messing me up.
Sorry.
So
you're
December
right.
23rd, and
ships in April, though.
Yeah, but it does ship in April. Yeah, this is a pre-order or pre-sale. All right. So great product. Great way to support your fellow maker, inventor type people. I'm coming around, Nicole.
All right, you come around. Let's see, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh, Apopena says, why must you keep inventing pressure to my wallet?
I like wallet pressure. Yeah. Hold on. Sorry.
Sorry.
So yeah, 15% off. It's a great deal. December 23rd. This stuff is amazing. Andy comes up with great products. I'm just happy we live in a time where...
I thought you were going to say, I'm happy we live close to him.
No, that doesn't help me at all, Nicole. Once in a while, actually, it does. But no, I'm just glad we live in a time where people who have great ideas can find the resources as an independent person, find the resources to make things, and then even get contacts with a company like MagSwitch where he can partner with them or start working for them and actually have even more resources at his disposal. So cool products like this can keep coming out.
Wants to know, how much for the promo code Marc with a K?
That gets you nothing.
Nothing.
They actually add cost to it if you do that. So a couple of notes here. When you're checking out, I was a little bit confused by this. There is a box that says referral code when you're in your cart. Don't put it there. That's just for something else. Go to the checkout page and you'll see a regular discount code box. That's where you want to put it in there, the discount code.
I'm guessing the referral is probably like influencer code.
Maybe. I don't know how
star code.
Yeah, probably how they track that. I don't know.
I don't know.
The other thing is, if you are a European viewer and you want to take advantage of the sale, you could do that. They also have a European website, mag-tools.eu. Right now, if you use our code there, it'll all still work the same way. We still get a small affiliate fee. You still get the prices, but you get better shipping, right? Because that's coming from the European MagSwitch website.
Probably be faster, too.
I would imagine.
Since it's coming from Europe.
Well, maybe, I don't know. It's the same company. So I wonder if they get a sale from Europe that goes to the U.S. site. As a company, do they go, well, we should probably ship this from a closer place? I don't know. I don't know how it works.
How's that work? We don't
anyway, so that's pretty cool stuff. Thank you, Andy, for sending me one of those to play with. And go get yourself some fences, y'all.
I've been collecting questions, and we have a few questions on Patreon.
Let's do questions.
Jeremiah said, no question. Just wanted to say happy Thanksgiving. Appreciate all you do.
So Nicole says, I've got a couple of questions, but I'm going to start with no question.
Because I wanted to say happy Thanksgiving to you,
That's good,
Jeremiah.
Yeah,
How long do you say happy Thanksgiving? Like
forever.
Like the Thursday and Friday?
I think after Friday you could stop.
Yeah, okay. What's the last day? Get one in. All right, you go.
Oh, you got questions for me here already?
Yeah, I've
I
already.
haven't seen them. Joe Ferrone says, hey gang, question on finishing. One you probably don't already have on video. I have some 200-year-old barn boards and would love to retain the patina on edge surfaces after I make cuts. What chemical combo or stain can I use to mimic weathering? Oh yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
No, it says thank you, Hapskin.
Okay, thank you, Hapsgiving, sorry. It's amazing that my eye just read the regular greeting. Weird. I don't do this stuff. You're right, I don't have a video on it because I don't really do it. There are products out there. There used to be a really cool aging product, and I don't know if they make it anymore and kind of lost track of it, but it would give you that gray weathered look.
What was it called?
I don't remember. That's the problem. And anytime I've looked for it, I can't find it. Some stain products will kind of sell themselves like that. Some of the Rubio products, you can find like a smoky color to it, which will add that gray weathered look. But this is one I'm throwing to the chat room. Okay. Because I'm sure there's people who have done this and have done the research. I haven't. I don't really have a great product recommendation. So chat room, if you have a suggestion for Joe, go ahead and throw that in there.
Ian Chris did a super chat and said, I shaved my beard. I thought it looked like Harley Race with my mutton chops. Everyone else thought I'd lose a race with Harley. I don't know who Harley Race is.
If maybe it's a racing person?
Harley Race. I'm going to look it up. Harley
Race. We don't know anybody, Nicole.
American professional wrestler. That's what I thought, but I was thinking you were in Europe.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a person. Okay.
He's an old wrestler. Wow. Oh, he lived in St. Charles. Oh, he's from Missouri.
Well, you should know this guy. He's probably your uncle.
Well, the names sound familiar, but I was like, no, not that guy. I guess so.
I just made myself laugh. Okay, James Woodward says, I've built some drawers and now they are all assembled and painted. I've discovered that they're a bit too tall. I need to trim about 1/4 inch off of each drawer. I'm planning to do this. How did you get to that point? You didn't test it before you painted? I don't mean to make fun of you, but I guess we've all been there and done that. So I need to trim about 1/4 inch off of each drawer, planning to do this on a table saw, but wondering if you have any tips that I could follow to do this safely. I'm mostly concerned about the final cut that will separate the two pieces. Well, this shouldn't be too difficult to do because a drawer, you've got that flat drawer front, all you're going to be doing is running your boxes. I mean, you could disconnect your drawer fronts if they are not permanently connected and make your cuts that way. Let me make sure I understand this. Painted, discovered too tall, trim about 1/4 inch off of each drawer. So if this is just the drawer front situation and you have false fronts, this is not too difficult to do. Either remove the front, make your cuts that way, or you could just cut with the whole box. Just be very careful to keep it nicely against the fence. I've made slight adjustments that way with a finished drawer box and ran that across the table saw. If you don't have that, and maybe this is the reason for your apprehension here, maybe you have a completed drawer and you need to cut all 4 sides. I think that might be what you're talking about, because otherwise I don't understand what the safety concern is. In that case, as you're cutting around, this is just like, you know how sometimes people will make a box, a decorative box, and then they cut the lid off as a last step so it's all one piece and you get perfect grain continuity? It's kind of what you're doing here. So as you start to make your cuts, by the time you get 2 cuts, things get a little bit wobbly. So what you can do is put a little shim in the gap, right? The kerf that you make there. Put a little shim, cover it with some blue tape, or if you have to, some hot melt glue or something just to keep it in place. That little shim will keep everything nice and stable, so you can continue to make the second and the third and the fourth cut. But using those shims is a good way to stabilize that off-cut piece. And then once you're done, you just kind of pop it off and you're good to go. That's probably what you're thinking, and that's what I would do. All right, what else?
I don't know. Robert wants to know who's Margot. It's a movie.
It's from Christmas Vacation.
There you go.
Featuring Chevy Chase. Mm-hmm. And Margot is Elaine.
Yep.
Right?
It is.
Okay, happy Thanksgiving. This is from Brent Dyer. He says, I'm making 2 boxes that have to hold an item of a certain depth. When measuring, I forgot to leave room for a floating panel at the bottom of the box. I forgot about the bottom of the box completely. I didn't realize that mistake until the sides of the box were cut, glued, and in clamps. Insert face palm. Is it a good idea to glue a solid wood panel to the bottom of the box? I'm worried about wood movement. With Christmas being so close, I don't have time to start over again. Boxes are made out of 3/4 inch walnut. They are a square that is 8.5 inches wide by 7 inches tall. Yes, I would be worried about a solid panel at those dimensions. I wouldn't do it. There's always a chance that you could do this and it will be perfectly stable and it'll be fine. But ultimately, if you're talking something that's 8.5 inches wide, that thing's going to move. And what happens when that moves is it's going to fight against those box sides. And you may wind up breaking a glue joint at some point. You may wind up having that bottom buckle to some extent. I wouldn't do it. I'm trying to think of other ways. This is tough at this point because if you're going with solid wood, that thing needs to float. One thing you, I guess, could consider is a plywood bottom. If you go with a plywood bottom, you could veneer it yourself, put some nice walnut veneer on there so it kind of matches up, trim out the edges with some walnut veneer. That will be more stable. All right. So if you could find your way to make that work with the design, that will work better. You might even make it, I guess if I were really, really stuck and wanted to fix this and didn't want to throw anything away, I would get a piece of plywood, I would veneer it so it at least looks like walnut, I would get some edge banding around the outside, and I'd probably make it about 1/4 inch bigger than the rest of the box, and then put a nice little round over it on it. So what it does is create kind of a base to the box and gives it a little bit more dimension. And that is something that you could then just glue straight to the bottom of the box. That's a good way to save it. Might even look cool, but that depends on your design. I don't know if it'll ruin what you're trying to do, but that's how I would turn that accident into a feature. Okay.
Scott Walsh has a question. Can jointer planer knives be so dull? How dull are they?
How dull are they?
That they cannot be professionally resharpened. I just purchased a used machine and I've never seen such visibly dull knives before.
If it's a used machine that has tons of hours, I mean, I would take it to someone who sharpens, because a lot of times, yeah, it might be dull and everything is blunted, but that doesn't mean it can't be sharpened, right? I would
probably take a picture and send it in and say, before you waste the trip.
Yeah, I mean, now if this thing has been sharpened 20 times, maybe it's at the end of the life of the knives, because you're just going to, like chisels, right? Or plane blades. Eventually, in theory, you work back so far that it's just a nub and there's nothing left. So, but if you still have a good amount of knife material there, plenty of room for those little, what do they call them things? The little jib screw dealies, for them to grab onto that knife, it probably can still be sharpened. It's at least worth a shot. But again, if it's old knives that have been like really well used and they are cheap, then you might just be better off buying some new knives.
Scott just did a super chat.
Oh, Scott, you silly goose.
Merry New Year.
Merry New Year to
not
you
yet.
as well.
We're not there. We're not there yet, Scott.
We are in this house.
Hold up.
We're not the New Year, but the Merry.
Yeah, we're trying to do the Merry.
Do the Merry. I tried that once. She wasn't responsive.
No.
Okay, Mick Mahone.
My God. It's terrible.
She didn't reciprocate, Nicole. Do you need me to explain it?
Oh, I know. It just sounds horrible. Move along.
She wasn't interested. What can I say? Is pre-finishing a panel... Okay, so this is Mike Mahone, by the way. Mick Mahone. Is pre-finishing a panel ever necessary? If so, when? I didn't pre-finish the panels in my barrister bookcase and it's been fine, but I'm wondering if a bigger panel would have issues with wood movement, exposing unfinished wood. Working on one that's about 22 by 12 right now. Well, absolutely, this could be a problem, Mike. If you're using a finish or especially a stain, you just want to make sure you at least get the color on there. I feel less, I don't worry so much about finish, right? Because as long as like in our kitchen, we've got some brown stained cherry cabinets, or no, I think they're alder, sorry.
I don't know.
But if that panel shrinks and exposes something, if it doesn't have finish on it, it's not as much of an eyesore as something that doesn't have stain on it. You would see like a blonde line there, that's bad news. So typically, if I do expect that kind of color variation and I expect movement, I'm going to want at least the color on there and then at least one coat of finish, right? And then you could do the assembly, and then you could go back and do a final coat of finish after you sand your frame and all that stuff. So I do believe it's a good idea to pre-finish your panels. But again, if I'm just doing a clear coat, and especially if I'm using something like I use now, the hard wax oils, if something shrinks and I start to see an unfinished line, you know what I have to do? I go get a little bit of oil and I go whoop, and then it looks perfect. You also have a situation with clear finishes and oils, they seep in under. So a lot of times you might just get that extra 16th all the way around, and that's probably not, it'll kind of seep into it. That probably won't present a problem later. Okay, that's all the questions you put in the notes.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just grab them live.
All righty.
Quick fire
Looks like
style.
John Malecki's streaming live right now.
Oh, okay. Well, let's stop what we're doing and go watch him chug a couple of beers or whatever he does over there.
He's talking to everybody. He's doing a giveaway.
Okay.
We do our giveaways, our holiday giveaways, closer to the holidays, right?
Yep. Speaking of woodworking celebrities,
Hey.
we got King's Fine Woodworking, James King, my good science buddy over there, fellow Coloradan.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, James.
Joe just asked me if my stickers were new. They are.
Yeah, she had to separate our two laptops.
Can't see them all, but
can tell them apart.
Look at a little Frenchie. Oh. And then Marilyn Monroe being all badass.
Look, I think that's unfair to her. I don't believe that that's a
picture. I don't think she actually did that. Could you imagine all tattooed up?
Was all tattooed and looking like a punk rocker, but fine if that's what we're going for.
All right, got a question here from a Sammy. Newbie question. Can you fill in a wood engraving with epoxy, sand it down, and then stain the wood? What will the stain adhere? Will the stain adhere to the epoxy, which I don't want to happen?
The stain might grab, or the epoxy might grab a little bit of stain color, but it's epoxy. It's not going to absorb stain the way that wood does. It's mostly going to reflect whatever is in the epoxy. So if you put some coloring agent in there, it's probably going to hold on to that. But again, you might get a little bit of a color shift, but not much. I think this is something you should probably just test to make sure this looks the way you want it to look. But I wouldn't anticipate a stain dramatically changing the color of a epoxy inlay like that. Mm-hmm. All right, what else we got?
I got a question from Ryan. Do I need to edge band a 3/4 inch plywood cabinet carcass if I'm going to paint it anyway?
It's up to you. Yeah. I mean, plywood edges are not the most durable things. You got to figure you have very thin veneer.
Flake off too, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. You've got that very thin veneer on the outside and a sandwich of thicker but still pretty thin veneers. And it's a combination of side grain and end grain and side grain and end grain. So that is something that does not look great and it's not that durable. This is why we tend to edge band them. If you are painting, you will also notice a texture difference, right? So the edges, being that mixture of not great quality materials just sandwiched together, you put that paint layer on there, you're going to wind up with little pits and things. There's going to be a texture issue happening there. Now, some people will just get like drywall mud, or some kind of wood filler, and you can actually put the filler on the edge, sand it nice and smooth, and that will alleviate the pitting and stuff that you might see. But still, it's not that durable of an edge. So I do recommend that if you're worried about durability, that you would want that solid wood edging on there. What can happen if you don't, depending on where the cabinet is, if you hit the corner or something hits that veneer corner, it could just pull right up or flake or splinter, right? So that could be a problem.
Dawn has a question for you, and I'm looking right at it, so I figure it was relevant.
Dawn Sargood, did you finish your assembly outfeed table? When will we see the video? It's over there.
It's right there.
It's still being worked on. I'm hoping we could finish it before I take my December break.
So this week is your last?
So this week and next week, I might do a little bit of work.
How many weeks do you think there are in November?
The first day of next week is still part of December, or still part of November. Isn't it, I believe?
Today's the 27th.
Yeah.
There's only 31 days? 30 days.
We'll see. Anyway.
There's only 3 days left.
We do have a video planned. Probably the fan table is going to come out in December. I would not expect to see this assembly table, outfeed table until 2021.
Yeah.
Until January.
Hey, by the way, if you watch the show on Amazon, I'm completely up to date. So there should be 4 new videos out there. I know a few people, that's how they watch it. I was a little behind on that. Yeah.
Doug put flames on his KitchenAid mixer.
Monday. There's only
that's what I told you.
3 days. No, you said like 1 week and then a following week.
No, I said next week. There's still 1 day left of December or November. I keep saying the wrong month, but you know what I mean, Nicole.
I know what you mean. Let's see. Ken wants to know, how long can you leave timber before gluing after sizing? Depends on where you live. So he's planed it, I'm assuming. No, he's sized it.
No, I think he's talking about glue sizing. So who's right here, Nicole or Mark? I don't know which version, because you could be right.
Yeah.
But what I think he's talking about is glue sizing, which is where you take wood glue, you dilute it with water, and then you paint like end grain.
But he says before gluing after sizing.
Yes. So you size the joint to help the absorption so it doesn't suck up all the glue, and then you glue it together.
Ooh, who's right?
I think I'm right.
All right.
I'm going to answer this question as if I'm right.
Ken, let us know.
I don't do this that often, Ken, so I don't know from experience, but I've read enough about it. Some people will let it dry completely. Some people will actually just put it on, give it a few seconds, and then put the glue in there. I think both methods can work. The bottom line is when you're glue sizing, you're trying to preload the grain with something so that when you put your real glue on there, it stays there, as opposed to a dry joint in end grain is going to just suck up all the glue no matter what you do. So I think it was a Chris Schwarz article that I read recently where he's a big fan of just kind of painting on the size, letting it sit for 2 seconds, and then putting the glue right back on there. I do like that method because one of the things that happens when you glue size is it's water. So you get raised grain. So a joint that fit perfectly, when you put it back together, with that raised grain, you're going to be kind of inclined to sand it just a little bit to smooth it out because the joint doesn't go together quite as well as it did prior to the sizing. So I'm kind of in favor of the idea of doing it while it's all wet. This way you can get a nice tight glue joint and just add glue after the size has been added.
Matthew Lee says I'm right. I was right.
Is he the one who asked the question?
No.
So I think Matthew Lee is wrong. I'm going to say 2 of you are incorrect.
Ken's not. Ken did clarify it after but I pulled the question like at the top of the show, so okay. I missed the second part of it.
So you didn't get the clarification?
I didn't get the clarification yet.
I still think I'm right.
All right, well. Ken, I hope that helped.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Adam. I think you can see that.
Was the super chat?
Yep. It should highlight it. There it is.
There he is. Adam Nesvold says, I'm working on the gaming dining table. 40% off in the guild, by the way, if you get 2 projects.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I hear. Okay, I ordered veneered plywood, but got MDF instead. I'm going to order some Hvlp veneer, but I don't have a vacuum press. Is there another method that I can use? Well, you know, veneering was done before vacuum presses, so there are methods. Pressing that kind of veneer on a large surface can be a little bit difficult. Is it paper-backed veneer? Right, because if you have paper-backed veneer, you can actually do it's not my favorite way to do it because I don't like contact cement, but you can do a sort of a rolling method, right? They get those big J rollers, little contact cement, and you could apply veneer that way on a large sheet without a press, but I really prefer using more strong rigid adhesives for veneer panels. So outside of making a giant veneer press, I don't know how you would do it that way, right? So that's a bit of a challenge, a bit of a pickle you got yourself into there.
A pickle.
Keep in mind you don't need to veneer your own. This is something that I need to make sure. I've gotten a couple questions about that recently. I want to make sure it's totally clear that because I use Shop Sawn veneer on my panels for the gaming dining table, you don't have to. You absolutely can just buy veneer plywood that has the veneer you want. So you could find a resource for a Hvlp veneered 3/4 inch plywood, edge band it, and you're done. You don't need to do your own veneered panels for that project.
You know, I've been using the gaming table quite a bit this holiday season.
I saw you doing the puzzles.
Yeah, I'm doing the puzzles.
Puzzles are what get people like excited.
Yeah.
I thought board games would be the thing, but people like them damn puzzles.
Well, especially with a lot of people staying home now, puzzles are in high demand.
Yeah.
People companies are selling out of puzzles. Mm-hmm. I'm doing a Mickey Minnie Christmas puzzle. It's like 500 pieces and it's all like red. So it's going to take me a little while.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah. Do you see any questions you want to throw up?
No.
I like it when you can throw it up.
I like throwing up too, Nicole.
On the screen.
It really makes me feel better about myself.
Hi, Marc.
Okay, I'm brand spanking new here. What do you do, Mrs.?
What do I do? All kinds of stuff.
Well, that's pretty good, Nicole. Good explanation.
If you're new here, I don't know. I just take up the slack.
Pick up my slack.
A lot of customer service. I handle working with businesses that want to work with us.
Yeah, Nicole's entry into the business generally happened once there was enough work that I couldn't get to, that I was like, we really need somebody to do this because I don't have the time. But also there were opportunities left on the table because I couldn't return calls or return emails to work with advertisers and sponsors and stuff like that. There's a lot of community outreach stuff that Nicole does.
I manage the Guild Facebook group. I do a lot.
She's really the other half of the business.
Yeah. And I think, hey, we should do that. And Marc would go, I'm not even, okay.
Sure,
not
let's
even,
do that.
I'm worried about building this piece of furniture. So, yeah. I also have currently homeschooling 2 kids. Both of them are home now. She cuts Marc hair. No, I don't cut his hair. He cuts his own hair. I did try to cut it once.
Well, there's times where can you get me a little bit back here? I can't reach it.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, what else?
You got a question? Questions? Yeah, there's tons of questions. I was hoping you would throw one up on the screen.
Okay, well, this makes for a great video as people watch me scroll
you
through
look
the
for
chat.
a question and I will ask a question.
Okay.
Shoemaker Woodworking says, my wife bought me a tool apron for Christmas. Can Mark sign it? Did you buy it from us? If you bought it from us, you can reach out to Lorna and she can have us. In fact, we're signing shirts for Ness. They're on the table, Ness.
Yeah, I would assume that's why he's saying that is because he bought it from us.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we could sign whatever.
As long as it hasn't been shipped out already.
I do get a little bit concerned about signing fabric and leather and things like that. Like, I don't know how well that holds up.
It probably won't.
But we used to sign hats and things. But it's like, if that's what you want, we will mess up your brand new apron.
Yeah.
All you want.
Just send an email to Lorna@thewoodwhisperer.com and she'll, or you can reply to your receipt and it'll either go to me or her.
Okay, so Mike Danino says, what's your favorite way to secure glass panels in a wood frame? I don't know why my name isn't showing. I don't know why it's not either, but I see your name there, Mike Danino.
Hey, Mike.
I treat glass panels a lot like wood in the sense that you want to make sure you've got room for expansion, not necessarily expansion of the glass, but you want a little bit of a gap around the wood in case the wood, or around the panel in case the wood expands. You don't want the wood to expand, and like if you drop it into a rabbet, it expands, and if you have a really tight panel, you can actually end up with a broken piece of glass, which is no good. So I put a little bit of room around it. A lot of times there's commercial clips that you can buy. So once you have this thing down into a rabbet, you could then put clips around the perimeter that hold it into place. I like to make things out of wood when I can. So there have been times where I'll just make a nice thin frame, a little mitered frame that goes around over top of the rabbet and also over top of the piece of glass with little tiny brass screws. So the idea here is if this glass ever breaks, you could replace it. I wouldn't necessarily... I've done it in the past, but it's a little bit risky. If you put a glass panel into a groove, that kind of just locks it in place. If that ever breaks, you can't replace it very easily, right? So that's why I prefer a rabbet and some kind of a clip to hold it in place. Excuse me. I may also use like caulking or something. So before you put the panel down, the glass panel down into that rabbet, just a couple of little dollops of caulk,
Daisy.
some kind of silicone or something to kind of hold the panel in place, prevent it from shaking around.
Shake, 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 shake. Mm-hmm. Got a question here from Anthony.
Anthony.
Any thoughts on Rockler's Hvlp spray gun? Any other recommendations? Do you have theirs? You don't have theirs.
I haven't. I had experience with one that they made maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know what their current one is. Is it a relabeled Erlex or something like that? I thought they were doing something along those lines. They always make a good budget offering in the world of Hvlp. So if you're new to it and you don't want to, drop $1,000 on a, crazy high-end turbine, you could certainly start there, and it gets a lot done. What you're going to find is the components aren't really that well made. Your hose is probably going to be a problem at some point. The gun itself may not be that easy to set up, and the thing may not be that powerful. So if you go for very thick-bodied finishes, you'll find the limitations there. But that said, it's a great starting point if you're just spraying clear finishes. I highly recommend the budget ones to kind of get your bearings and learn about spraying. Once you know more about it and you know how much you're going to do it, then you can invest in something that's a little bit more durable, pro-level type gear.
Let's see. Got a question here from Hollywood D.
Hollywood!
Going to build some cabinets, built-in cabinets, and paint them white. What type of sheet material do you recommend that will accept paint well? Was thinking of Baltic birch.
Baltic birch is fine. I use Baltic birch for a lot of the shop cabinets just because it's got a lot of layers. It's nice and flat. Usually stays nice and flat. But ultimately, when it comes to to paint, you can just get paint grade plywood that hopefully doesn't have tons of voids in it. But paint doesn't really care what it's going on top of, right? As long as you smooth the surface, and I guess you probably want to use a good primer, an appropriate primer. You could do it on just about anything. I think the choice in the sheet good kind of comes down to like how much investment do you want to put in the core structure of the cabinet. So Baltic birch I think is a great choice, but there are other options out there, especially paint grade.
Is this our second or third question about paint?
Yeah, a lot of paint today.
A lot of paint today.
What it's like I made a video about painting cabinets?
That's true, you did.
What? I did that once. That was a bad idea. Okay.
The ADD Maker asks, do you have any tips on running hickory edge trim through a router? Not having it explode in your face. Asking for a friend.
Light cuts take your time and ease into it. Hickory is kind of a beast that way. So depending on the profile, a lot of times.
Have you ever made furniture with hickory?
Not furniture. I've made cabinet doors.
Gotcha.
Remember my mom's old cabinet doors were hickory?
Yeah.
So yeah, hickory, it fights back. This is something where if you're putting an edge profile or some kind of joinery, a lot of times you can sneak up on it. So you're only taking small bits at a time. If you try to take the whole thing in one pass, bad things can happen. So that would be my recommendation, is to try to sneak up on it. Don't take it all at once. Break every operation down into like 3 or 4 steps.
Break it down.
Break it down.
Darren Ditch, I think I said his name right. I'm building a Rubo style workbench, and I'm looking for a good finish that I can repair easily without a mix of boiled linseed oil, mineral spirits, and polyurethane. Oh, what? Wait, there's a period missing. I just read it.
Point to it for me.
This one right here.
Okay.
He's wondering, would a mix of boiled linseed oil, mineral spirits, and polyurethane be a good way to go?
Sure. That's fine. That's like a classic oil varnish blend, homemade version. That will work just fine. So you have a scratch or a dent or something you want to repair, spot repair, you just kind of sand it, get a little bit of that finish and wipe it in there. So that's a good choice.
Xander has a question. You're right over it.
Hold on. So I think we need to invite Mike Farrington to join the show.
Yeah.
I think his name is mentioned on this show
almost every week.
More than anyone else's.
Yes.
I'm going to say in answer to this question, why we aren't yet friends with Mike, I'm going to blame a pandemic first.
Yeah. I also said we're homebodies.
We don't like leaving the house.
We don't go anywhere.
So yeah, one of these days we'll introduce ourselves to Mr. Farrington. Invite him on the show and be like, here he is. Are you happy? Like that.
There.
Xander Constant says, I'm wondering what you would recommend for dust collection in a very small shop. I currently have a shop vac and a small cyclone dust separator. My shop is only 9 by 9. Well, you got a good start there. That's a good place to start. Attaching a shop vac and getting a little separator in there is a really good way to go. Once that reaches its limits, well, now you start looking at roll-around units. You could upgrade to something big, but I don't know why you would need to or want to in a small space. So there are many roll-around dust collectors that are really good bargains. One of the ones you always hear people talk about is the Harbor Freight dust collector. That is a little roll-around unit, especially if you don't have to travel far. The length of hose you're using isn't very long, so even if it's not the most powerful dust collector, it can get the job done. So I know when I was in that stage, I wanted to go something past a shop vac. I just did one of the bagged roll-around units. If you look around and Google, you'll find all kinds of mods that people have done to that Harbor Freight unit to improve it. So you could probably put better bags on it. You could do all different things with its configuration, but look it up. I know a lot of people like it, use it, and have good things to say about it. And that's a great way to do it without investing a whole lot of money.
Terry Carter said, I finally got to see the show live, usually working. So finally.
Well, glad to have you.
Thanks for hanging out with us, Terry. I got another question from Anthony. It's a workbench question. Okay. How long should leg tenons be for a workbench top that won't be glued down? The top is 4.5 inches thick. The goal is to be able to knock the bench down to be moved in the future.
Okay. Sometimes when you read, I zone out. How long should the leg tenons be for a workbench that won't be glued down? The goal is to be able to knock... well, they don't have to be that long. A workbench top, did you say it's 4.5 inches thick?
Yeah.
That's heavy. It's not going anywhere. All you really need is something like once the base is glued up and ready to go and you got those little... You could just have little tiny stubby tenons. They don't need to be really deep. I would say minimally a 1/2 inch. If you want to make them deeper, certainly go ahead and make them deeper. But I really don't think it's going anywhere. Chances are you're going to screw it down, right? So you're going to probably have carriage bolts or spack screws or something going up through the aprons into the top. That's doing all the holding. The only purpose of those tenons is to prevent any possibility of shifting one way or another, and you could do that with a tiny 1/4 inch tenon if you wanted to. I would say go for about a 1/2 inch.
Got a question right there, JB.
JB Briskafy?
Yeah.
A new watcher.
Yay.
How often do you do live shows, and when are they generally done? Nicole?
So, how long you looked it up a couple days ago. How long have we been doing this show?
Lily been dead long time.
Stop it.
What movie is that from?
I don't know.
And why did that pop in my head?
I don't know. So we typically do this live show.
It's been a long time.
Every Friday.
Since Arizona.
Every Friday around 9:30-ish, because sometimes we start early.
Yeah.
Sometimes we start a little late. But we are in Colorado, and it's mountain time. So we've been doing this show since 2014. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
It is something in that ballpark.
Yeah. So it's just something that Mark and I have been doing for a really long time. Mark here has been doing woodworking videos. If you're on the channel, there's like 400 videos. We've been doing it since 2006. I think we were one of the first.
I venture to say we might be the longest doing it.
Longest
running ever woodworking. Nobody cares. We've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah. So some of the older videos you might go, wow, this looks like crap.
This is only in
back in 2006.
This is only 240p.
They didn't have HD on YouTube.
Yep.
They didn't have HD in YouTube until 2009.
We're that old.
Yeah, we're that old.
Apple Apino wants to know, is Wood Talk continuing in the next year? Wood Talk is continuing into the next year because our contract with Rockler runs through January, I believe.
Is it January or February?
I think it's up till February, so through January. Will we continue after that? The honest answer is I don't know. We have to talk to Rockler, get that conversation going, and see if they want to continue. If they do not, we have some decisions to make. But I do know that the show probably will not continue if we do not have a sponsor. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Got a question here from Chris.
Answering the tough questions, Nicole.
It's the very last one, Chris.
Okay. When working with prefinished ply, is scuffing the surface good enough for a good glue joint? Prefinished ply, scuffing. Well, I mean, with prefinished ply, a lot of times, I would imagine, your glue surfaces are not the same as your finished surfaces, right? Because you're finishing the faces mostly, your edges will be cut and then put into a joint. That joint is also milled. So most of the things you need to worry about are already raw wood and not finished wood. You might just have a little bit of a finished surface that goes into a dado or something. I might be misunderstanding your joinery. If that's the case, I wouldn't really even worry about it too much. Scuffing the surface might not do a whole lot. I mean, again, this depends on what you're doing and even what type of glue you're using. If you're using like a polyurethane glue, yeah, maybe that'll bite to the finish and scuff sanding it a little bit might help. But if you're using wood glue is going to look at a sealed surface and go, I don't know what to do with that. Wood glue needs wood fibers to do its job. So scuffing isn't really going to do much to help you there. But I would hope that the way your joinery is cut, it's going to kind of be a non-issue because most of the glue surface is already raw material. Does that make sense?
Tim JB asked me if there are any sponsor discount changes for 2021. I don't know. I'm assuming you're referring to the guild
discounts.
Guild discounts.
Mm-hmm.
So if you purchase any project in the guild, you're automatically a member for life, and that includes vendor discounts that we work with. So we work with MLCS. They give us a 10% discount. Also, Brusso Hardware for, I think the jewelry box gave us a discount on that. El Forest, CR Muterspa Lumber. I'll just put the link in the chat. Those are all of the vendor discounts that we have currently. I'm glad you asked, Tim, because it'll make me go through the list and just follow up with all of them just to make sure that we're up to date for 2021. Mm-hmm. So
For sure. I love when people think that you're a woodworker. We should switch jobs. Have Nicole make the projects and Mark do the support work.
Yeah.
You want to do the furniture?
I could do it. I could do it. I could do anything.
Yeah. This reminds me, I told the story
It's just
before.
if I want to.
There was a point in
I don't
time
want to.
when we played a lot of Mario Golf.
Shut up.
And
I could build something.
Nicole played as Princess Peach.
You're full of it.
And thought she had a pretty solid golf swing down. Mm-hmm. And then we actually went out golfing and she realized that somehow the skills don't translate.
You're about ready to get smacked for real.
I like it. I like when you smack me, Nicole.
Uh-huh.
All right, what else? Okay. Blood Monk says, have you ever bought a tool, big or small, because why not, that turned out to be a great buy? You know, it's going to be hard to narrow this down because I waste a lot of money on tools. I spend money on things that I think just look kind of cool, and they often do surprise me at being, a nicely well-made tool. There's a lot of times where I might buy something because I think it looks cool, but I don't actually have a use for it very often. But that 1 or 2 times a year that I need to do that thing, I break it out, and I'm super happy about my purchase. One of the things I think people get a little bit confused by watching me is they forget that I actually woodwork mostly like a hobbyist because I stopped building for clients a very long time ago. So when I buy stuff, sometimes I just buy stuff because I want to, or, to me, this is a fun space for me. So if I get excited about a tool and I have the funds to purchase it, that's what I do. So I do a lot of that, what you're talking about. Splurge on something and go, oh, that was actually, I'm glad I did that.
Sly wants to know, did I say his name right, Sly?
I don't know. Sil?
Sorry, I always do that. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the one. Sil.
Yeah.
Is this the last show of the year? If so, when do they start up again? So it is the last official show, but we will be doing a holiday giveaway show in December. Haven't picked the date yet, but
it'll be a night show, I think.
Yeah.
We'll try to do an evening show.
Yeah, we'll do an evening show.
And we'll have giveaways. I got to see what I've got. A lot of times these holiday giveaways come down to like, okay, year's over, stuff that's been sent to me or promotional stuff that's been sent to us. What do we do with it? Let's give it away. So we'll have to see what we got.
Yep.
Currently, Scott, we are not looking for social media help. We did find someone, but the silly thing about it is we only have like another month before we're done.
Right.
That person can actually interact with us. This is the point where Nicole just walks off the show with no explanation. I'm not sure what the heck is going on here. I'm going to be like Garth now.
Because I wanted to show off.
You know who else has huge forearms? Rockler! So that's a wood talk joke, Nicole.
Mitch from MLCS sent me the templates for so long time ago you did a ghost router bowl.
Yeah.
And they have more templates, and Mitch was kind enough to send them to me, and John's been working on them for me. So awesome craft gift.
I love the candy cane.
I love the candy cane.
Nice job, John.
So we're going to give MLCS some love there. These are going to be some, you might get this.
It's a lot of M&Ms, Nicole.
It is a lot of M&Ms.
I can't eat that many. Okay.
So we're making Christmas gifts right now.
Those are fun.
So
fun and simple.
You can find the templates for these. There's like 15 of them. There's like
all kinds of holiday ones, Halloween,
there's
Christmas.
Paw print for pet lovers.
Stuff not having anything to do with holidays. Lots of good stuff.
So Marc shows how to do, because John did these, and they're a lot thinner than the one you made. Why is the one you made so thick with the ghost?
Because I like it thicker. Okay.
Gotcha.
John's a little more daring than I am. He goes with a thinner wall.
A thinner wall.
I appreciate a good thick wall.
All right. So so you can watch the video about the ghost one.
Yeah.
But you can find all these templates at MLCS.
Apo Opino wants to know. Well, he says, don't know why a pro building for customers wouldn't want nice tools as well. I don't think it's a matter of them wanting nice tools. When you're a professional and it's a time is money kind of situation, nice tools are great, but tools are just that, tools. Hobbyists tend to buy tools that have a lot of creature comforts, extra things, and just have that little feel-good aspect to it. A lot of pros are just trying to make a living, right? So they don't want to spend extra money when another tool that's cheaper will just get the job done, right? It's more practical. There's not as much fluff. Yeah, maybe it's not as nice of a tool, but they can still get their job done and make a happy client out of it. I think it's a matter of practicality. And hobbyists tend to think in terms of slightly less practical things that cost more money just because. It's the way it works.
Can I give you a new place to tell people to look for tools? Because usually if you're on a budget, kind of looking at Craigslist, Facebook, Goodwill actually has a online auction site.
Really?
And I've been a little addicted to it lately because I found some really cool stuff.
Great.
But if you go to shopgoodwill.com and look for tools, and it's the kind of site that you have to go back to a lot, but you can find some pretty good deals on.
It's Goodwill, but it's auction.
It's auction. And so sometimes there's like no bids, sometimes there's a couple bids. So like here's a lot. And the way that Goodwill does it, they'll try to put things together, so it'll be a lot. So this is a lot of drafting tool supplies. Right now, one bid, $10.
Yeah.
9 hours to go. So shopgoodwill.com. Look kind of if you're in the market and trying to save a few bucks.
Interesting.
It's very interesting. And a lot of times they try to verify the tool, like make sure it works and all that stuff. So it'll say if it's in working order and things. So like this one, Chicago Power Tools, cutoff saw, blah, blah, blah. So there you go. Another tip for finding cheaper tools.
So Dustin Wade says, I may have missed it. Were those templates for CNC? So I'm going to ask this question. How would they work as a template for CNC?
Well, John said he was going to make them, the rest of them on the CNC.
But by pulling the image into a program to make a vector file?
Yeah.
But why would you need a template for CNC?
True.
That's what I'm trying to get to the nature of Dustin's question.
Gotcha.
These are router templates, right? So it's actually acrylic, I guess? It's like
it is acrylic.
Yeah, some kind of a plastic acrylic, probably about like a 1/4 inch thick, and you are using bearing guided router bits to hog out all the material, right? And John looked at this, and of course that's what he said. He's like, I can make this a lot faster with the CNC. Like, that's not the point, John. Don't do it.
I put a link in the chat room for the templates, and you can kind of see it there.
So Argo gave us a super chat. Thank you. A little something for the tip jar. Aww. Thanks for the laughs, guys. Well, we're glad you're laughing. Some people just get annoyed.
Yeah, thumbs down.
And thumbs down. But that's only, our goal here is to make people laugh and maybe answer a question or two.
Are we?
How is the clock messed up again?
We're mountain.
Yeah, but the clock is messed up again.
Is it? Because you keep taking it off.
Taking it off the wall should not make it move an hour.
I don't know.
What do you think happens when I take it off the wall?
I don't know.
If you would just leave it up, it wouldn't be a problem, Mark. Okay. What else? Many woodworker sites have deals like Wood Whisperer. Well, yeah, lots. I scrolled through my Instagram feed, and it's like a as seen on TV series of advertisements. It's like we're part of the problem.
We are.
But everybody's got products. Everybody's got plans. Everybody's got stuff to sell now, and it's all like 90% off.
We're the best.
Everything must go. That's what's going on right now. What's the best way to clean a glue bot? I usually give it to John and say,
"Stop it."
That's true.
How does John clean it?
I had a glue bot, and John came in here, and he's like, "Why aren't we using this?" And I said, "That's a great question. Maybe we should use it." So we filled one up. Then I bought a few more. And now every time it gets clogged, I go, "Hey, John, could you
Is it just get like stuff in it?
Yeah, so if the easiest way to clean it, I guess it depends on how dry and crusty it's gotten. But the great thing about the glue bots is they have a removable tip. Ooh. It's got a removable tip. So you just take that tip off, go get some hot water. Usually I get a flat screwdriver, scrape that on the inside, push the dried schmutz through, or go the other way, put the screwdriver in through the tip, and then pull the schmutz out from the back. It's all very gross. I also have some brushes, like little pipe cleaner type brushes that I use to sometimes scrape some of that material out. Now, if you have dried glue on the inside, it's a little bit trickier to handle that. You definitely want to put some hot water in there, let it soak for a little bit, soften everything up, and then you might be able to get wire brushes or a coat hanger or whatever it takes to get something in there that kind of scrapes the glue and try to peel that stuff out.
Hey, I think we should wrap the show up.
Let's do it.
We started early and we're going past the
time. Matt, Apoapina, I like his theory. Matt gave it a thumbs down because Mark's now cuter without the beard. Matt's feeling competitive because now I look 5 years old like he does, except for the gray hair. I look like a 5-year-old with gray hair. That's actually what I'm shooting for these days in my 40s. Okay, one more question.
Oh no, I saw it come in. Don't do that. You're new here, blood.
What? He says, were you woodworking as a job much before the transition to YouTube, or was it more of a hobby that you decided to start filming? That's not a bad question. What do you think that was going to send me off on
I don't know.
A rant?
He mentioned YouTube.
You just saw the word YouTube and assumed I was going to get pissed. I love that, Nicole.
I was like, oh, geez, here we go.
So I was woodworking for a couple of years, just trying to survive as a custom furniture business. Thankfully, Nicole had a really good job and a good salary, so she was really supporting us. I was just barely putting money into the pile to try to get our mortgage going.
I hear I was in TV.
Why do people think that?
I don't know.
She did not work in TV.
I was never in TV.
She worked in university software.
I was in computer sales.
Sales and tech support.
Software sales, actually.
So when we moved to Arizona, I still tried to make the business work, and it was very difficult. And eventually, around 2005, 2006, that was when online video, sorry, I need a drink, became a reality.
Cold.
The tech was catching up, and people were uploading videos, and podcasts were becoming a thing. The Apple Video iPod was becoming a thing, and that's when I started to make some videos. And it just very quickly became clear to me that making video and teaching people woodworking was kind of where my passion was, and also where the profit was for me.
Yeah.
So I stopped making, not immediately, but eventually stopped making furniture
You
for
had
clients.
A couple of clients. Still
And instead,
in the area.
yeah, I kept a few over the years, but then instead kind of transitioned into making online content. So that's the story. Also,
and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, and I get questions like that once in a while, like on from folks on Instagram.
Yeah, if you're new.
If you go to thewoodwhisperer.com/about, there's my bio there, plus a whole bunch of interviews that ask these business-related questions about, how we as a family and as a business sort of evolved into this whole thing, and you can find all that information there. Okay.
I'll put a link in the chat to the About page.
Yep.
Because there's actually a lot of good information there that I think people don't. Mark was a kept man.
I really was
No, you
for a little
weren't.
while. Well, it was your fault that I quit my job.
Yeah.
Right?
I encouraged him. He was working in science. He was in a.
I had a real job, you guys,
real job.
with a real paycheck and health insurance. And then I said, screw all that. I'm going to play online.
I'm gonna go hang out with David Marks for a few months.
I'm going to try and be a furniture maker.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Okay, well, thank you for watching, everybody.
It was a great idea.
Turned out to be one. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and remember that drill press fence deal on until December 23rd. We'll put the links in the notes for you guys if you want to go check that out. And we really appreciate you hanging out with us. We are thankful. We're thankful for you guys watching us. We really appreciate it.
And if you are either a Patreon supporter or a YouTube member, we're going to do a small after show after this, just more casual questions. And I'll put a link to the Patreon post in the chat. And we just got a super chat from Josh.
Joshu80.
Joshu.
Good buddy status and coffee.
Aww.
Thanks for a great year.
Thanks, Josh.
Well, thank you. It's been
Is
a
it
great
Joshua?
year.
Joshua, you think?
Something like that. So yeah, just to recap, we will see you guys at least one more time before 2021. We're going to have a holiday show. It'll be an evening show. Just look at our social and stuff for announcements about that.
Giveaways.
We'll do some giveaways.
We like to give stuff away at the end of the year.
Yep, baby. All right. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Bye.